Greetings. This is Brother Eli. Welcome to Bible Truth Revealed. This channel is dedicated to exposing the lies of Christianity and revealing biblical truth. On this channel, we worship and serve the Most High God of Israel only. This teaching is entitled, Are any natural foods forbidden in the Scriptures? That is, are any natural foods forbidden in the Scriptures? Nowadays, there are Bible believers claiming that it is a sin to consume foods such as honey, mushrooms, Irish sea moss, and other types of seaweed. On the other hand, many people understand the medicinal properties of these foods and use them to maintain or improve their health. So the question is, are any of these foods forbidden in the Scriptures? This teaching will be divided in 6 parts. Part 1, should we use natural foods as medicine? Part 2, are we required to eat all natural foods? Part 3, an example of natural healing in the Scriptures. 4, natural food, honey. We're going to explore honey. Number 5, we'll explore mushrooms. And number 6 will be Irish sea moss or other types of seaweed. Part 1. Should we use natural foods as medicine? Ecclesiasticus chapter 38 is Sirach chapter 38 in the Apocrypha. I will be reading verses 4 and 7. That's Ecclesiasticus or Sirach chapter 38, verses 4 and 7. And I will be reading from the Brenton Septuagint translation. It reads thus. The Most High hath created medicines out of the earth, and he that is wise will not abhor them. With such does he heal men, and taketh away their pains. So the Most High has created medicines for our healing. He uses them to heal us and take away our pains. And those of us that are wise will not abhor or hate them. Whether it is honey, mushrooms, Irish sea moss, or some other type of seaweed, if the Most High did not explicitly tell us to avoid them, we should be investigating whether they can be used to heal us and take away our pains. If the answer to this question is yes, then those of us that are wise will not abhor or hate them. Wise people do not hate natural foods that were created for our healing. Ecclesiasticus chapter 39 or Sirach 39 in the Apocrypha, I'll read verses 26 to 27. That's Sirach 39 verses 26 to 27. And it says, the principal things for the whole use of man's life, that means the main things, the most important things for man's life are water, fire, iron, and salt, flour of wheat, honey, that's the same honey that some people say is so wrong to consume. It is listed as one of the most important things for a man's life. Honey, milk, and the blood of the grape, and oil, and clothing. All these things are for good to the godly. So to the sinners they are turned into evil. These things are good to the godly. The Most High made them for our good. And wise, godly people will not hate honey to the point that they insist that it is a sin to eat it. It is sinners who turn good things such as honey into something evil. The rest of us are wise enough to use natural foods such as honey as medicine. Part 2. Are we required to eat all natural foods? Ecclesiasticus chapter 37 is Sirach 37 in the Apocrypha. I'll be reading verses 27 to 31. That's Sirach chapter 37, verses 27 to 31. And it says, My son, prove thy soul in thy life, and see what is evil for it, and give not that unto it. For all things are not profitable for all men, neither hath every soul pleasure in everything. So if you do not like natural foods, such as honey, mushrooms, Irish sea moss, or other types of seaweed, you are not required to eat them. However, there is no good reason to forbid others from eating foods that the Most High has not forbidden, even if we don't care for those foods ourselves. And we certainly do not have the right to create a doctrine that eating these natural foods is a sin. Again, my son, prove thy soul in thy life, and see what is evil for it, and give not that unto it. If you try something and you're like, I really don't like this, it's not profitable for me, no problem. You do not have to eat it. In the same way, there are some people who do not care to eat meat. They choose to consume only plant-based products. This is perfectly acceptable. What is not acceptable is when they create a doctrine that eating meat is a sin. For a thorough refutation of this false doctrine, please listen to my teaching entitled Hebrew Veganites Refuted. That is, Hebrew Veganites Refuted. Verse 29 says, Be not insatiable in any dainty thing, nor too greedy upon meats, for excess of meats bringeth sickness, and surfeiting will turn into choler. By surfeiting have many perished, but he that taketh heed prolongeth his life. The word surfeiting means overeating, overindulging. We must avoid overeating. Those of us who choose to eat meat must do so in moderation. Many people have become sick and died because of eating too much meat, and this is why we must do so sparingly. To learn about which meats Israelites can and cannot eat, please listen to my teaching entitled Explaining the Dietary Law. That is, Explaining the Dietary Law. Part 3. An example of natural healing in the Scriptures. Isaiah chapter 38, I will read verses 1 to 5 and verse 21. That's Isaiah chapter 38, verses 1 to 5 and verse 21. It says, And it came to pass at that time that Ezekias was sick even to death. And Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amos, came to him and said to him, Thus says the Most High, Give orders concerning thy house, for thou shalt die and not live. And Ezekias turned his face to the wall and prayed to the Most High, saying, Remember, O Most High, how I have walked before thee in truth, with a true heart, and have done that which was pleasing in thy sight. And Ezekias wept bitterly. And the word of the Most High came to Isaiah, saying, Go and say to Ezekias, Thus saith the Most High, the God of David thy father, I have heard thy prayer and seen thy tears. Behold, I will add to thy time 15 years. King Hezekiah was so sick that he was going to die. However, when he cried out to the Most High, he had mercy on him and decided to bless him with an additional 15 years of life. Let's see how King Hezekiah was healed from this fatal illness. Now Isaiah had said to Hezekiah, Take a cake of figs and mash them, and apply them as a plaster, and thou shalt be well. So the Most High gives knowledge of how to use natural remedies. In this case, The figs were used as a plaster, but we can also get the benefits from natural foods by eating them. We're going to consider another natural food that can be used as a plaster, but first, I'll share a story. 10 years ago, my business partner told me that his doctor had diagnosed that he had a cancer that would kill him within 6 to 9 months. But as I was aware of a particular natural food that kills cancer if caught quickly enough, I told him about it. And as much as he was skeptical, he was also desperate. So he tried it. He used this food every single day. And within 2 months, when he went to his doctor, the cancer could not be found. His doctor could not understand how a cancer could disappear in such a short time. Again, the Most High gives knowledge of how to use natural remedies. Natural foods are medicine that are for our healing and to take away our pains. And he that is wise will not abhor or hate them. The other natural food that can be used as a plaster is honey. In the New World Encyclopedia, under the heading Honey and subheading Medicinal Uses and Health Effects of Honey, quote 1 says this: For at least 2,700 years, honey has been used by humans to treat a variety of ailments through topical application. That means using it as a plaster. Its antiseptic qualities found used by physicians as a covering for wounds before the development of bandages. So just like figs can be applied as a plaster, honey can also be applied as a plaster. The Most High provided these natural foods for our healing. Quote 2 says, topical honey has been used successfully in a comprehensive treatment of diabetic ulcers when the patient cannot use other topical antibiotics. Antioxidants in honey have even been implicated in reducing the damage done to the colon in colitis. Such claims are consistent with its use in many traditions of folk medicine. Folk medicine refers to the use of natural remedies for healing, such as that experienced by King Hezekiah. Again, the Most High could have simply said the word and the king would have been healed. But he wanted us to see the benefit of using these natural foods that he provided as medicine for our healing. Traditional healers are fully aware of the healing properties of honey. This is why they ignore ignorant people who insist that honey is unclean. Quote 2 continues, honey has also been used for centuries as a treatment for sore throats and coughs, and according to recent research, may in fact be more effective than most common medicines. Again, honey may be more effective than most common medicines. Mixed with lemon juice and consumed slowly, honey coats the throat, alleviating discomfort. The antibacterial and antiseptic properties of honey aid in healing sore throats and laryngitis. The only way that honey can coat our throats is if we eat it. The Most High provided honey for us to eat. It is for our healing. And just in case someone is wondering whether this is referring to the honey produced by bees, let's read quote 3. It says, honey is widely believed to alleviate allergies. A recent study has shown pollen collected by bees to exert an anti-allergenic effect mediated by an inhibition of immunoglobulin binding to mast cells. Some people argue that bees are unclean, so the honey they produce must also be unclean. Despite this claim by those who abhor honey, there is nothing in the scriptures that suggests that honey is unclean. Furthermore, some so-called biblical scholars insist that the honey mentioned in the Holy Scriptures is the syrup that comes from dates and that it has nothing to do with bees. In other words, they are saying that the word honey, as found in the Scriptures, does not really mean honey from the honeycomb. It never ceases to amaze me how far evil people are willing to go to reject the natural foods which the Most High has provided for our healing. This false doctrine is easily disproven by reading a few passages about honey in the scriptures. Let's start with Proverbs chapter 24, verse 13. Proverbs chapter 24, verse 13 says, "My son, eat honey, eat honey, eat honey, for the honeycomb is good." It does not say for the date tree is good, but for the honeycomb is good, that thy throat may be sweetened. This scripture makes it clear that we can eat honey from the honeycomb. Date syrup does not come from the honeycomb. So we know for a fact that this is talking about the honey produced by bees. Let's consider another two examples of the honey from bees being eaten in the Holy Scriptures. Judges chapter 14, verses 7 to 9. Judges chapter 14, verses 7 to 9 reads thus, "And they went down and spoke to the woman, and she was pleasing in the eyes of Samson. And after some time he returned to take her, and he turned aside to see the carcass of the lion. And behold, a swarm of bees and honey were in the mouth of the lion." This is the honey that comes from bees. "And he took it into his hands and went on eating. And he went to his father and his mother and gave to them, and they did eat. But he told them not that he took the honey out of the mouth of the lion." It was common for Israelites to eat the honey produced by bees. This is not date syrup. Honey is a natural food that was created for our good, and those who are wise will not abhor it. Isaiah chapter 7, I will read verses 18 to 19 and 21 to 22. That's Isaiah chapter 7, verses 18 to 19 and 21 to 22. It says, "And it shall come to pass in that day that the Most High shall hiss for the flies, which insect shall rule over a part of the river of Egypt, and for the bee, which is in the land of the Assyrians, and they all shall enter into the clefts of the land, and into the holes of the rocks, and into the caves, and into every ravine." So according to these verses, the bees would be all over the land. It was called the land of milk and honey for a reason. "And it shall come to pass in that day that a man shall rear a heifer and 2 sheep. And it shall come to pass from their drinking an abundance of milk, that everyone that is left on the land shall eat butter and honey. This is the honey from the bees that were all over the land. The land was flowing with milk and honey, and everyone was eating the butter which came from the milk and the honey produced by the bees. It should be clear by now that eating honey is not a sin. Many Israelites refused to eat mushrooms because of Genesis chapter 1 verse 29. So let's read it to understand the reasoning behind this dietary decision. Genesis chapter 1 verse 29. It says, "And the Most High said, Behold, I have given to you every seed-bearing herb, sowing seed, which is upon all the earth, and every tree which has in itself the fruit of seed that is sown. To you it shall be for food." If we are serious about understanding the scriptures, we must examine them in context. Always ask yourself, who is speaking? Who is he speaking to? And what is the subject of the discourse? The Most High, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, was speaking to Adam and Eve in this passage. And he was telling them which foods they were permitted to eat. He instructed them to eat seed-bearing herbs and fruits. And that's it. They were not permitted to eat the animals, and they were not allowed to eat anything that did not bear seeds. On the other hand, I choose to follow the Israelite diet rather than the Adam and Eve diet. The Israelite diet can be found in Leviticus chapter 11 and Deuteronomy chapter 14. In this diet, the Most High told the children of Israel which foods we can and cannot eat. And whilst he forbade us from eating certain animals, he did not forbid us from eating any non-animal products. This is why we can consume honey, mushrooms, Irish sea moss, and other types of seaweed and other natural foods that were created for our good. If we can identify that these foods have medicinal properties that can take away our pain and that can heal us, we can eat them because we have not been forbidden to do so in the Israelite diet. Now let's learn about mushrooms so I can demonstrate another reason why Israelites are allowed to eat them. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines the word mushroom as an enlarged, complex, above-ground, fleshy, fruiting body of a fungus that consists typically of a stem-bearing apilius, especially one that is edible. So a mushroom is an edible fungus. And the word edible means fit or safe to be eaten. A mushroom is a fungus that is fit or safe to be eaten. The word mushroom is not mentioned in the Holy Scriptures, but there is another fungus that is mentioned quite often. This means we can examine the Scriptures to determine whether it is okay for us to consume fungi, which is a plural of fungus. Leavening agents such as yeast were used by our forefathers to cause bread to rise and to make wine. The Most High wants us to enjoy both bread and wine. Let's read about this in Psalm chapter 103 in the Septuagint, which is chapter 104 in the KJV. This is Psalm 103, verses 14 to 15. It says, He makes grass to grow for the cattle, and green herb for the service of men, to bring bread out of the earth, and wine makes glad the heart of man, to make his face cheerful with oil, and bread strengthens man's heart. So the Most High has provided bread and wine to strengthen us and make us happy. We use yeast or leaven to make both bread and wine. So let's learn more about this natural food which the Most High has provided for our good. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines yeast as a one-celled fungus. So just like the mushroom is a fungus, yeast is a fungus. And this is a fungus that produces alcohol, that's the wine, during the process of fermentation. Another definition is a commercial product containing living yeast cells that is used mostly in the making of alcoholic beverages, like wine, and as a leaven, especially in baking bread. Our forefathers used yeast as a leaven in making wine and baking bread. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 17. Leviticus 23 verse 17 says, Ye shall bring from your dwelling loaves, as a heave offering, 2 loaves. They shall be of 2/10 portions of fine flour. They shall be baked with leaven of the first fruits to the Most High. The Most High commanded our forefathers to bake loaves with leaven, and leaven is a fungus. This means that our forefathers were not forbidden to consume fungi, which is the plural of fungus. In the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, the word leaven is defined as a substance as yeast used to produce a gaseous fermentation, as in dough, the dough that we use to make bread. The words leaven and yeast are often used interchangeably. Yeast is a fungus that is used to make wine and to bake bread. Again, the Most High commanded his holy people to bake bread with leaven. All the leaven is a fungus. We are allowed to consume it. Non-animal food sources are not forbidden in the Israelite diet. It is based on this that we can confidently eat edible mushrooms, even though the mushroom is a fungus. Now let's learn about the medicinal properties of this natural food source. In the New World Encyclopedia, under the heading Mushroom and subheading Medicinal Mushrooms, it says this: Currently, many species of mushrooms and fungi used in 1,000-year-old folk medicine practices are under intense study by ethnobotanists and medical researchers. Maitake, shiitake, chaga, and reishi are prominent among those being researched for their potential anti-cancer, antiviral, or immunity-enhancing properties. Psilocybin, originally an extract of certain psychedelic mushrooms, is being studied for its ability to help people suffering from mental disease, such as obsessive-compulsive disorder. Minute amounts have been reported to stop cluster and migraine headaches. It should be clear by now that mushrooms are medicine. They are medicines that are produced for our healing, to relieve pain. They are for our benefit, and they are not prohibited in the Israelite diet. Just like figs and honey, they were made for our healing. He that is wise will not abhor them. And finally, Irish sea moss and other types of seaweed. Some people believe that Irish sea moss and other types of seaweed are prohibited in the dietary law. Let's closely examine this claim so I can demonstrate that this is not correct. Leviticus chapter 11 verses 46 to 47. Leviticus chapter 11 verses 46 to 47 says this: "This is the law concerning beasts and birds and every living creature moving in the water and every living creature creeping on the earth, to distinguish between the unclean and the clean, and between those that bring forth alive, such as should be eaten, and those that bring forth alive, such as should not be eaten." To bring forth alive is to give birth. It's talking about animals that give birth. Of these animals that give birth, what should we eat? What should we not eat? It's not talking about plants. Plants don't bring forth alive. Plants don't give birth. As stated earlier, the dietary law of Leviticus 11 and Deuteronomy 14 pertains to animals only. There is no mention of plants because it has nothing to do with plants. It's simply telling us which animals we can eat and which animals we cannot eat. To verify this, all we have to do is read the entire chapter. It is all about clean and unclean animals. There's no mention of plants whatsoever. Therefore, it says absolutely nothing about Irish sea moss or other types of seaweed. I will read a few key verses to prove this point. Leviticus chapter 11 verses 1 to 2 and 9 to 11. That's verses 1 to 2 and 9 to 11. "And the Most High spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, Speak ye to the sons of Israel, saying, These are the beasts," that's an animal, "which ye shall eat of all beasts," animals, "that are upon the earth." Nothing to do with plants. Verse 9. "And these are what ye shall eat of all that are in the waters, all things that have fins and scales in the waters, and in the seas, and in the brooks, these ye shall eat." We're talking about animals, fish, "and all things which have not fins or scales in the water, or in the seas, and in the brooks, of all which the waters produce, and of every soul living in the water, are an abomination, and they shall be abominations to you. Ye shall not eat of their flesh, their flesh, their flesh, and ye shall abhor their carcasses." A carcass is a body, is flesh. The words flesh and carcasses confirm that this passage is talking about eating or not eating the flesh or carcasses, which is the body of animals. It has nothing to do with plants. As such, it must not be used to teach that Irish sea moss and other types of seaweed are unclean. They are natural foods that were created for our healing. The sea moss beverage is very popular in the Caribbean. But for those who are unfamiliar with it, let's read about it in the Encyclopedia Britannica. Under the heading Sea Moss Drink or Beverage, this is what it says. Sea moss drink, a Caribbean beverage made from dried sea moss, a type of seaweed, so sea moss is a type of seaweed, milk, and various sweeteners. In most recipes, the sea moss is soaked in lime juice overnight and then boiled in water, often with a cinnamon stick, until becoming jelly-like. After cooling, it is then blended with milk and such sweeteners as nutmeg, sugar, or vanilla. Sea moss drinks are popular throughout the islands of the Caribbean, particularly in Jamaica and Trinidad, and they are often believed to improve virility. So sea moss drinks are often believed to improve virility. For those who understand what this means, it should be clear that sea moss was created for the good of man. Now let's learn about the medicinal effects of seaweed. In the New World Encyclopedia, under the heading Seaweed and subheading Medicine and Science, quote 1 says, "A number of research studies have been conducted to investigate claims of seaweed's effects on human health. It has been asserted that seaweeds may have curative properties." That means it works as a cure. It's for our healing, for a number of ailments. As I stated before, if the Most High did not explicitly tell us that we cannot eat a particular plant, we should be investigating whether that plant can be used to heal us and take away our pains. There are many different types of seaweeds, and some have already been proven to be effective medicines. Here are a few examples. Quote 2. Corallina is being used in bone replacement therapy. Some kelps have polysaccharides that apparently correlate with reduction in the occurrence of breast cancer, and some seaweeds, such as sargassum, are used in Chinese medicine, including for the treatment of cancer. So the same seaweed that people are saying it's a sin to consume is used to treat cancer. Seaweed is one of the natural healing foods that the Most High has provided for our good. Those who are wise will not abhor these foods. In conclusion, the Most High made natural healing foods for the benefit of man, whether it is salt, wheat, milk, figs, honey, mushrooms, Irish sea moss, or other types of seaweed. These foods have nutritional and medicinal properties that are for our good. Although the dietary law given to the children of Israel forbids the eating of certain animals, it does not prohibit us from eating any non-animal food products. As such, we can safely conclude that it is not a sin for us to consume honey, mushrooms, Irish sea moss, or other types of seaweed. And with that, I say, Salam.